Have you ever heard of the spy the Gestapo called the most dangerous of all Allied spies? They were so desperate to catch her, they plastered wanted posters across France, warning that this agent was the most dangerous and must be stopped. Who was this elusive figure, this ghost who organized sabotage, armed resistance fighters, and vanished into thin air? You might picture a dashing James Bond type, but you'd be wrong. This master spy was an American woman named Virginia Hall, and she did it all with a prosthetic leg she nicknamed Cuthbert. This is the incredible true story of Virginia Hall, the limping lady who became one of the greatest heroes of World War II. Virginia's story didn't start in the shadows of espionage. Born in Baltimore, Maryland, in 1906, she was a bright and ambitious young woman who dreamed of becoming a diplomat. She was fluent in French, German, and Italian, and she was determined to serve her country in the Foreign Service. But in the 1930s, the State Department was an old boys' club. Despite her qualifications, she was repeatedly denied. Then, tragedy struck. During a hunting trip in Turkey in 1933, she accidentally shot herself in the foot. The wound developed gangrene, and her left leg had to be amputated below the knee. For most people, this would have been a devastating career-ending event. For Virginia, it was just another obstacle. She was fitted with a wooden prosthetic leg, which she humorously named Cuthbert. The State Department, however, used her disability as the final excuse to reject her, citing a rule against hiring anyone with a missing limb. Their loss would become the free world's gain. When World War II broke out in 1939, Virginia's determination to fight fascism found a new path. She was in Paris when Germany invaded France and witnessed the horrors of the occupation firsthand. She drove an ambulance on the front lines, evacuating wounded soldiers until France fell. Refusing to accept defeat, she made her way to London. It was there that her unique talents were finally recognized. Britain's brand new top-secret espionage agency, the Special Operations Executive, or WWII, was looking for unconventional recruits. Their mission, as Winston Churchill put it, was to set Europe ablaze. They needed people who could blend in, organize resistance, and conduct sabotage. Virginia Hall, with her language skills, fierce courage, and unyielding will, was the perfect candidate. The fact she was a woman, and an amputee, made her the last person anyone would suspect. The SO saw her disability not as a weakness, but as the ultimate cover. In August 1941, codenamed Marie, Virginia became the first female SOE agent sent into occupied France. She arrived in Lyon with Cuthbert strapped to her side and a mission to build a resistance network from scratch. For the next 15 months, she was a whirlwind of activity. Disguised as a reporter for the New York Post, she moved through the city, her slight limp barely noticeable. She organized safe houses, coordinated parachute drops of weapons and supplies, recruited and trained local resistance fighters. The Machiand smuggled downed Allied airmen to safety in Spain. She was a master of disguise, sometimes appearing as an elderly milkmaid, using cheesemaking to hide her radio operations. She was incredibly effective, building one of the most successful intelligence and sabotage networks in all of France. Her work was so crucial that the Germans became obsessed with finding this mysterious agent who was causing them so much trouble. They knew her only by the description of a limping lady, or La Dame Cuthbert, the Gestapo chief in Lyon. The infamous Klaus Barbie, known as the Butcher of Lyon, personally led the hunt. He declared her the most dangerous of all Allied spies. He plastered posters everywhere, offering a huge reward for her capture. The noose was tightening. Her network was infiltrated, and her comrades were being arrested and executed. It was time to go. In November 1942, Virginia knew she had to escape. Her only route was over the Pyrenees Mountains into neutral Spain, a brutal 50-mile trek through snow and ice in the dead of winter. It was a perilous journey for anyone, but for a woman with a 7.5-pound wooden leg, it was almost impossible. Cuthbert was a constant source of pain, chafing and bleeding her stump raw. At one point, she sent a radio message to London, worried that Cuthbert might hold her back. The reply she got back was characteristically British and dry. If Cuthbert is giving you difficulty, have him eliminated. She didn't eliminate Cuthbert. She persevered. She endured unimaginable pain, but she made it. Upon reaching Spain, she was immediately arrested for illegal entry and thrown in jail. It took weeks of diplomatic wrangling by the American embassy to get her released. Back in London, she was hailed as a hero. The British wanted to award her the Member of the Order of the British Empire, but she humbly refused, insisting she had more work to do and didn't want the publicity. Her work in France wasn't finished, but the SOE believed she was too compromised to return. The limping lady was too well known. So, Virginia turned to her own country's intelligence agency, the newly formed Office of Strategic Services, or OSS, the forerunner to the CIA. They eagerly accepted her, recognizing her invaluable experience. In 1944, disguised as an elderly farmhand, she parachuted back into central France. This time, her mission was even more ambitious: to prepare the ground for the D-Day landings. She mapped drop zones, organized thousands of resistance fighters, and led them in a guerrilla war against the German occupiers. Her teams blew up bridges, derailed trains, and sabotaged communication lines, causing chaos and diverting German troops away from the Normandy beaches. She was a commander in the field, leading men in battle, a truly unprecedented role for a woman at that time. When the war finally ended, General William Wild Bill Donovan, the head of the OSS, personally awarded Virginia the Distinguished Service Cross, the only one given to a civilian woman in World War II. True to form, she requested a private ceremony, wanting no public fuss. After the war, she finally achieved her childhood dream, joining the newly formed Central Intelligence Agency. She continued to serve her country as an intelligence analyst for years, though she often faced the same frustrating sexism she'd encountered before the war. Virginia Hall's story is one of breathtaking courage and unbreakable resolve. She was a woman who was told no at every turn by the State Department, by society, by her own physical limitations, but she refused to listen. She proved that courage isn't about physical perfection, it's about the strength of your spirit. The Gestapo saw a woman with a limp. The world should see a giant who helped win the war. Thank you so much for watching. If you found this story as inspiring as I do, please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more incredible stories of forgotten heroes. See you next time.